So on to our next section, which is section 2. This is establishing mission, goals, and strategies. Companies try to develop and manage a consistent corporate identity, their unique symbols, personalities, and philosophies to support all corporate activities, including strategic planning and marketing. We have the developing organizational mission and goals. We have our mission statement, which is our goals and objectives must be properly implemented to achieve the desired result. This is a concise explanation of an organization's reason for being. Um, there, every organization has a mission statement. Even Santiago Canyon College has their own mission statement. Um, so they go by what happens here matters, and they have a longer mission statement on the catalog. So I would recommend that you look that up. Or you can, even if you think of a company that maybe you're interested in researching or just looking at, maybe you purchase items from them, you can look their mission statement up. It's available on every organization's website if they have one. Then we have developing corporate and business unit strategies. Companies try to develop and manage. Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. Sorry. Okay. Strategic planning often begins at the corporate level and proceeds downward to the business unit and marketing levels. Organizations are increasingly developing strategies and conducting strategic planning that moves in both directions. When conducting strategic planning, seek out experts for many levels of the organization to take advantage of in-house expertise and a variety of opinions. So as you can see, it can either flow, most of the time it flows top down from the executive level down to the different business units. But then there are some organizations that are more open to hearing from what their line staff, the frontline team is dealing with, or their strategy or their suggestions. So that would be going from the bottom to the top. These are the levels of strategic planning. We have the mission statement, which is the overall organizational goal, their mission, why they operate, why are they there. And then we have the corporate strategy, which is the overall picture. What is the reason why we are here? What do we do? And then the business unit strategy is the individual departments. That could be the purchasing department, that could be accounting, human resources. And then we have the marketing strategy, which is how we're going to sell or provide to the public our service or our product. And then we have our marketing mix elements, which are the product, distribution, promotion, and pricing. Distribution can be place. So if you're wondering, I thought it was 4 P's. So you have the product, distribution equals place, promotion, and pricing. Just to clarify that little part. So the corporate strategy again is the broadest of the 3 levels and should be developed with the organization's overall mission in mind. Business unit strategy should be consistent with the corporate strategy while also serving the unit's needs. So when the accounting department creates their strategy, they're not only creating how they can potentially fund the whole organization or track funds in or funds out, but they are also finding out how they can make more efficient their processes and systems within their department. Then the marketing strategy utilizes the marketing mix to develop a message that is consistent with the business unit and corporate strategies. So when you're creating your marketing strategy in an organization or a company, um, two things have to come um, into view, and that's each individual department strategy, what makes them efficient, what makes them work, so that the whole overall big picture corporate strategy can be fulfilled. So the corporate strategy is the broadest of the three levels of strategy. Should be developed with the organization's overall mission in mind. A corporate strategy is a long-term plan designed to help the firm gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace while creating customer value. It addresses the two questions posed in the organization's mission statement: who are our customers and what is our core competency? So, what are we able to provide, as in service or product, to what customers are we providing to? Corporate strategy planners attempt to match the resources of the organization with the opportunities and threats in the environment. So, corporate strategy planners are concerned with broad issues such as organizational culture, competition, differentiation, diversification, interrelationships among business units, environmental and social issues. Moving on to the business unit strategy, it should be consistent with the corporate strategy while also serving the unit's needs. Strategic business unit is a division, product line, or other profit center within the parent company. So this means it can be the accounting department, it could be the production department, it could be your purchasing department, your human resources department, all of those. Each of these units sells a distinct set of products to an identifiable group of customers, and each competes with a well-defined set of competitors. The revenues, costs, investments, and strategic plans of each SBU can be separated from those of the parent company and evaluated. So SBUs can be if you were to give an example of SBUs, think of Kroger, which is a big parent company, and then it moves down to the business units, which are Ralph's, um, Food for Less, and other retail stores or other companies that are underneath the parent company, which is Kroger. There are other examples of that. Um, we look at Johnson and Johnson. They are also makers of the COVID vaccine, but they also make other products such as Q-tips, um, Kleenex. There's a lot of other things, baby oil, all those things. So, SBUs face different market growth rates, opportunities, competition, and profit making potential. Their business strategy should seek to create value for the company's target markets and attain greater performance, which marketing research suggests requires implementing appropriate strategic actions and targeting appropriate market segments. So, General Electric launched Eco Imagination to imagine and build innovative solutions to today's environment challenges while driving economic growth. GE uses knowledge and the resources of different functional areas to create and market dozens of green products for consumers. What type of strategy is Eco Imagination using? Are they using the corporate strategy, the strategic business unit strategy, or the marketing strategy? And I'll let you guys look up that question, and then it'll help you to better view what the business unit strategy is versus strategic business units. All right, so strategic planners should recognize the strategic performance capacities of each SBU and carefully allocate scarce resources among those divisions. We have the market, which is a group of individuals or organizations that have needs for products in a product class and have the ability, willingness, and authority to purchase those products. Then the market share is the percentage of a market that actually buys a specific product from a particular company. Um, so product quality, order of entry into the market, and market share have been associated with SBU success. Here we're going to talk about market growth market share matrix, and this is a helpful business tool based on the philosophy that a product's market growth rate and its market share are important considerations in determining its marketing strategy. So we have our stars, cash cows, dogs, and question marks. So our stars have the dominant share of market. They are good prospects for growth, and they use more cash than generated to finance growth, add capacity, and increase market share. Our cash cows, they also share a dominant portion of the market. They are low prospects for growth. So even though they share the big space of the market, they're not growing. Stars are like they are going to grow and just keep growing and growing. And that product is going to span over maybe multiple industries. They generate more cash than is required to maintain market share. Dogs are subordinate share of the market. But they are low prospects for growth. So they're not going to be growing as fast. They don't dominate the market, but they do support the market. Question marks they have a small share of a growing market and require a large amount of cash to build market share. So stars, think of stars like your Nike or your Coca-Colas, your cash cows. They're not going to grow, but they're going to dominate the market. So think of products such as the standard SUV or a car, not high end, but just let's say your Hondas, your Hyundais, your Fords, your Nissans, Toyotas. Not the luxury end of those markets, but those would be cash cows because they're going to dominate their share of the market. And then, but yet they're not going to grow as much as you see stars. Those would be your electric vehicles, maybe Teslas, um, and then they do generate more cash than is required to maintain their market share. They support the share of the market. Like they're there and they're always going to be there. They support the organization to move forward in their goals and their mission, but they're not going to grow to big levels. So this could be your groceries. This could be uh, clothing, clothing stores. Maybe not the high-end clothing stores, but you have your superstores like Walmart and Target. This would be their level. Then your question marks are they own a small share of a growing market. So we'll look back and some products can move from one um, market share matrix, one box into another box, or they can overlap. So question marks, let's say a brand new eco-friendly vehicle comes out. So that would be a question mark. They have a small share of the electrical car market or eco-friendly car vehicle market. And then they require a large amount of cash to be created and built and maintained, and also to build their position within the market. And this is a example of the growth share matrix, and it was developed by the Boston Consulting Group. The major indicators of a firm's overall health are the size and vulnerability of their cash cows. Because remember, cash cows, they dominate the market, but they are low growth. But yet they still cost a lot of money to maintain in that market. Prospects for the stars, and then number of question marks and dogs. If resources are spread too thin, the company will be unable to finance promising new product entries or acquisitions. Then we have our growth stages, which are um, show the growth of a product or an organization. Um, and it goes from your market penetration when the product enters the market, the development of it. Then we have also for present products on the top, and then for new products on the bottom. So you may have a market development, developing a new market, and then diversification of that product. This is our next section, so we'll take a break here and we'll come back to the section 3.